Yo, it's Vallé, and you are watching AUDollars. What's up, baby?
Fuck all that jacking and jobbing and talking and playing and talking some more. I need the money, I need me a bag. Baby is pulling a dab faster than me.
Yo, what up, Cash fam? My name is Matthew Craig, and you are locked in, as always, to AUDollars, Australia's Hip-Hop Connect. You know how to support us. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that good shit down below. Keep sharing the incredible work we're doing, showcasing artists from around the world. And today I've got one of those incredible artists with me. Really blessed and fortunate to have his time from Christchurch in New Zealand by way of Papua New Guinea. This guy's been played on Apple Music Beats One Radio. He's a Pacific Music Awards winner, and he's making this incredible brand of hip-hop, R&B, soul, and cultural influences. I'm excited to talk about his new project, Caged Birds, the one and only Vallé. Welcome to $80, brother.
Thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
No, man, I'm absolutely stoked to have this conversation, bro, because we connected recently, just online in the DMs. We'd seen sort of what each other was doing.
Yeah, bro, I seen you speaking some facts, and I like facts, bro.
Love, bro, love. And then, yeah, you sent me the project Caged Birds, which has just come out, bro. That's where I want to start this conversation, my man. Like, for me, this is one of my favorite projects I've heard this year, for a range of reasons. Not only the storytelling, but the sonic diversity, the metaphors that are held within there, bro. Where is Caged Birds sitting for you right now, and what's that message that you're trying to communicate via it, bro?
Oh, it's tough because there's layers of the messaging, you know, like there's multiple things you want to communicate, and it's tough boiling it down to like one underlying thing that I'm trying to get across. I guess the theme is that individually and collectively, speaking for myself and then for my community, I felt like there were different things that were preventing us, and some self-inflicted things that were preventing me from flourishing, and some things that were circumstantial, and some things that are out of our control that are preventing us from achieving and flourishing the way that we should. And specifically speaking of Papua New Guinea. Yeah. And yeah, kind of just shedding light on those things, and then bringing people along the journey of understanding those things for people who don't know, because there's a lot of people I'm always surprised by. You know, I have interactions with people in my own personal world that are like, oh, really? Like even distant family or in-laws are like, oh, that's what's going on there, or you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, damn, this is like a big country in the Pacific that's just, you know, silent ghost.
Yeah, somewhat being, just out of sight, out of mind almost for a lot of people.
Yeah. So, to bring that back to answer your question, I guess I'm just like exploring all those themes and how I see those cages playing out. And I don't really try to provide answers. You know, I'm kind of more just diagnosing the problem.
Yeah.
Opening the conversation. Yeah. I've never kind of been one to like try to tell people how to like fix things, because I'm well aware that I'm often part of the issues, and that's kind of what Guap like gets at with the whole greed thing is I put my hand up in there and say like, you know, we all play our part. I play my part in that. I'm just as guilty about, you know, putting my own needs above other people at times, and so
yeah. Let's run it back a bit there, because so much of this project and your identity as an artist is forged in your cultural heritage and your story. For those that aren't familiar with your story, that might not be out in Australia across the
hard, yeah.
Paint a bit of a picture for us about your early life and transitions.
Yeah, I was born in Port Moresby, and my family were like raising me in Morata, which is they call them squatter settlements, so they're not like legitimate developed areas where you're supposed to reside in. It's kind of like during the boom of the development of Port Moresby from like 1970, people from the Highlands region where I'm from came down and tried to set up base to try and, I guess, get closer to where the money and things were happening. And so, yeah, that was my family story, and it's not always guaranteed to go so well. And so, yeah, I ended up getting very sick. The living conditions are like are really bad there. And I was lucky to get out. A lady at the bank who was cashing the checks that my dad was sending from NZ over to PNG, she saw the condition that I was in, and then she was like, made contact with Pops and said, you need to get your son back, otherwise he's gonna die. And so, yeah, that plan B, I had to get flown back to NZ and ended up being raised here. But I think the original plan was that dad would have my older sister in NZ and mum would raise me in PNG. But I wasn't going so well.
How
so
old were you?
this is before I was 1 year old. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, raised and then was brought up in NZ and here I am today. Yeah. Didn't go back again until 2019 when I went back to go and film TripAdvisor.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how was that experience for you going back?
Oh man, yeah. I always struggle to answer like straight and properly because it's a melting pot of like a lot of different things. But it was surreal. It was nostalgic. Yeah, kind of felt like I was coming back from the dead, to be honest.
Wow.
And that was the reception that I got from my family, like because it had been so long and there was no communication at all, like zero, because of the divorce, right? So like I was raised by dad, not by mum, and that's mum's side of the fam. So yeah, it was an unreal experience, but it was a beautiful experience, and felt like it opened up the opportunity for me to like create redemption and encourage people to do the same.
Amazing. And growing up, did you always grow up in Christchurch?
Between Christchurch and Wellington, mainly Wellington.
Okay,
but yeah.
Yep. How was that sort of experience for you? It's one of the common threads of artists that are emerging across Australia and New Zealand are those from the diaspora, who come from somewhere else and then raised in Australia or New Zealand. What was your sort of navigating that journey of feeling somewhat caught between two words?
I think, and I think, like even how we said before about going back to PNG, I felt like a dead person come back to life. I would say that answer is applicable to that question where I was able to flourish in my language and my language just came back out of me again. And that was easy and effortless. I just needed the right environment to flourish and to be able to express that side of myself that, lay dormant, because I was always the only Papua New Guinean in school, or I was always the only Papua New Guinean in the community or whatever. And there was never, like space for operating in that way. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was definitely a challenge. And I think I spent a lot of my childhood like being ashamed of where I was from, not only because it was like you were the only one, but I think perhaps the example that mum laid out for me was so destructive. I didn't want anything to do with that. So I think I threw the baby out with the bathwater, in a sense where I kind of judged her the same way I judged the country and the culture, and was like, oh, this is like hella dysfunctional. Only bad outcomes can come from being involved in that. And it was all tied in together, which was the wrong way of, like that's a child's mind of, I guess, viewing things. So yeah, no, it was difficult, but I mean, at the same time, it was like, I'm so thankful to be here, because now going back, I know what like my older brother, the firstborn, had to go through being raised, and he's still in PNG, never left. Our stories, our life struggles are like incomparable. I was super lucky to be in NZ and like have the opportunity to like go to school and go to a good school and play in good sport teams. And now we got NZ on there that supports like emerging artists and stuff like that, like things just systems, even simple things like buses that work and show up on time, and water that runs, and like a legit roof over your head, and shit like that. So it's not like I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, it was so hard. Like it was like complicated and confusing. But I can't say it's hard when I compare it to my older brothers. There you go.
Is that where the when you say going back felt like coming back from the dead, is that where the whole concept of caged birds sort of relates to?
It's definitely tied into there, like, because bird is the kumu, the bird of paradise, is our national icon. That's like a big thing that we present to the world that we're proud of and we're on our backs. And then we're restricted by so many things. And so it was more like caged birds was like, I felt, I mean, for someone who knows and is from Papua New Guinea, it feels very like self-explanatory. Like you never have to unpack that to someone back home. Like they'll be like, oh, caged birds, sweet, I know exactly where he's getting at. And like so much of our culture, if you look even across the board from Papua all the way to New Guinea, and you look at on the cultural festivals when we bilas, wear our traditional wear, you'll see a heavy bird like influence in the way we dress and the way we dance. And so it's been interesting learning about the culture, how the like natural wildlife has influenced that part of the culture, which has been cool. So yeah, big strong relationship there between birds and Papua New Guinea culture.
That's cool. And I love how that's represented on the cover art. Can you talk to me about that process?
Yeah, bro. So it was like, I guess we're just trying to paint, like, because you have the word, right? You have the title for the project, and you're like, well, how can I like bring this to life?
Yeah, represent that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I always not like I'm trying to say that I'm going to change the world, but I'm like, my goal is to play a small part, be like just play my part and be a link in the chain. And so you see me like freeing the bird, because the cage, like the trap door to the cage is open. And like I'm trying to encourage diaspora from PNG and from any other country that, you know, that are from third world countries that are developing and trying to get off the ground and participate in like the global economy and stuff like that. Like you can play a small part in that, and find satisfaction and meaning in that. Because often, like I grew up with a lot of South Africans, and it's sad, like what's happening back home for them. They're just like, the default now is switched off because it's so such like a broken story, and they don't have no hope of, like, you know, so they're just like, stuff, I've come to NZ, like forget that, you know, like I'm here now, this is life. And I'm just kind of like, my perspective is a little bit different, and I feel like because I was born there, I have a responsibility to contribute in some way. And so I wanted to communicate me contributing in the cover art. And so my contribution as being a storyteller, and hopefully some of those stories free people up in a certain kind of way.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. Let's talk music itself specifically. How did you sort of enter and become musical, and I guess get into rap, get into R&B, and just the entire soundscape? Who were your influences? What was your first access point?
Yeah, well, my first access point to music was like grandma playing the piano from like as young as I can remember. And then always in the house with dad was always playing Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, and Van Morrison. And so I grew up with those influences, and then kind of my older sister kind of handed me down her R&B influences, like Lil Bow Wow and Chris Brown and stuff were always posted on the wall. I remember that real vividly. And I didn't find rap until like, I think it was my 12th or 11th birthday. I got an Eminem CD, and that kind of just took took off for me. It was Encore. And then, I think after that, it was Encore, the album.
It was Encore.
Yeah, Encore. Yeah. And I remember like being fully immersed in like the artwork, and like, you know, when you'd buy physical CDs and you could like go through the pamphlet, and it just bring to life the music. And I think it just captured me. Like it was just felt very, very hand in glove moment. Yeah.
And the sonic influences on this project specifically, I feel like when I listen to it, bro, I hear there's absolutely bits of soul and, you know, the standard influences and stuff like that. But then you go in almost like a JID, J. Cole direction on the raps as well. What's your sort of palette when you're putting it all together?
It's tough, bro. Like because I always find it hard to like package that in an explanation, because you're exactly right. Like it's not one thing.
Exactly.
You can't. Yeah, you listen to the project and it's very like, oh, he's over there. He's in the R&B bag. Oh, he's like rapping. Nah, he's like really rapping. And then it's kind of like, oh, he's just like melodic rapping and kind of like easing off and sitting a bit behind the beat. And so I don't know, like, and I haven't, I've never like decided like, this is my sound, you know, like I've always just like try to work with people that I love and work with people that inspire me and then I think are great. And more importantly, I think the music's great. And if it prompts me to write and like respond a certain way, like I feel like I'm always responding, like it's a dance. And the music's like, you know, holding your hands and it's taking steps and you're taking steps with it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really thinking about like, you know, like, is this on brand? And, you know, like I'm kind of just, I'm just like organically, oh, this is dope. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like we just made a song the other day, no drums. and it's just like totally different.
Just letting the art do its thing.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So I'm kind of just dancing with music. That's what I feel like about it. And I'm not trying to particularly go. And what I do, like with Cage Birds, is I'll just write a bunch of songs and then I'll look back retrospectively and be like, oh, these kind of belong together. Not so much. I don't tie them down sonically, but more like the subject matter, the content. Like we're all kind of, these 6 songs or these 7 songs are kind of pointing in the same direction or pointing people in the same direction. I can package that message together and then put it out like that way.
Love that. I love that. And what's next? I know there's a party coming up in a few days' time, which is exciting.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Live plans for shows. What can we expect in the future?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of live shows: Christchurch, Queenstown, Wellington Jazz Fest, and then going up to Auckland, and then back down to Christchurch, and then back up to Queen Charlottetown in December, and then maybe a little couple extra ones in there that are like yet to be confirmed. So it's quite a busy like live schedule run, more shows than I've actually ever done and that close together. So it's a lot of learning, and I'm just really trying to like perfect that. Like this on Friday we're playing with, I think it's an 11-piece band.
Incredible.
A big brass arrangement, I think 6 brass players, 2 drummers. And so we've just been going back and forth trying to figure out the arrangement, figure out what songs we can stretch out and like make them sound a bit different. And that's kind of the focus of the year, really. It's just like giving the best live version of these songs as I can, and then giving them to as many people as I can. And then, I've got a bunch of music, as always, as creatives, yourself, you make music, like you always have shit stored in the vault, heaps of stuff, bro, like so many songs. And then I'm actually just excited to be like free and out of release mode and just like create freely again.
Exactly. Because
you're always thinking about like how stuff's being received, and then am I getting in touch with the right people? And that's part of the game that I don't like. Like I struggle with that. I prefer just to like, make music.
Yeah, create and go. How about 2023? Can we expect you this side of the Tasman at all, brother?
Bro, facts. So like we're loosely planning a tour of PNG, and then I want to come and do a couple dates in Oz on the way over. So it's very up in the air at the moment. Like nothing's been tied down, but the vision's there, the conversations are happening, the doors are opening, and it's just a matter of like, playing the cards right and the stars aligning, which I'm sure they will.
Absolutely.
Fingers crossed.
They will. And we'll
thanks, bro.
Having you in Melbourne, we'll link up. We'll get in the studio, bro, and we'll do this all proper when you're on this side.
Yeah, because I've got some friends in Melbourne as well. Kate Ishii, I don't know if you know Kate, another PNG artist.
Yep.
Who's killing it there, and then Angry Boy Kev. So I need to come around.
Kev was at the studio only a few weeks ago. So.
Yeah, my guy. Yeah, we've been trying to make music for a minute. Yeah, I love that guy.
Love it. My bro, thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations on the project. We look forward to linking up, and all the best for the tour. It's an absolute blessing. Anyone who's watching this in Australia, go check out what is going on in New Zealand hip-hop right now. There's an incredibly strong scene out there. We love our brothers and sisters across the ditch, and we're all building the community together. And Vallé is one of the ones leading the light. Go check him out and Cage Birds.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me, man.
Returning the question she outlined. Painted the ceiling with pretty little panties. She turned and said, now fly. I took my wings and I started to spread them and headed for out sky.